गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. We are in Kathopanishad, not Kenopanishad, Kathopanishad, and we were looking at the Sambandha Bhashya, and in that we were looking at the question, and the question was that that by the word Upanishad, where is it? Please put your audio off. Please put your audio off, whoever it is. सुनते नहीं है. So the question was, Nanu cha Upanishad shabdena shabdenadhyetaro grandham api abhilipanti Upanishad madhimahe adhyapayama iti cha. Is it not a fact that the word Upanishad, the various people, when they talk about the word Upanishad, it refers to a book, and they use the sentences such as that we read the Upanishad, we teach the Upanishad. Is it not referring to a book? We are also studying Kathopanishad, Ishavasya, Keno. Is it not a text? So the teacher answers. This answer we were looking at towards the end of the last class. Evam na esha doshaha avidyadi sansara hetu visharanadehe sadidhatvarthasya granthamatre asambhavat vidyayam cha sambhavat. The teacher says, yes, from that point, if you take this point of view, that the word sad, what does the word sad mean? Here where it says sad dhatu arthasya, sad dhatu arthasya. So sad dhatu, Upanishad, that shad is actually sad, and the ksha it became because of the quip pratyaya. So sad means what? To loosen. And loosen what? To loosen the cause of the world, to loosen the knot of ignorance, which is avidya kama karma. Can that instruction be for a book? Can the book or text or some words put together, can they be released? Can you loosen them from anything? They are inert. So these words, the word Upanishad, where it says, come sit near and loosen the causes of the world, it cannot be a mention to an inert. It must be to someone conscious. Therefore it is inapplicable if you are mentioning a book, it is not for the book, and it is applicable only to knowledge. And last week I told you towards the end, knowledge does not mean knowledge of the world. There is this when we talk about knowledge, vidya, Brahma Vidya means Atma Vidya. Brahma Vidya means the knowledge of the infinite. The knowledge and the infinite are not separate, they are one and the same. Just like space and directions are not separate, space and directions are one and the same. Same way, the Upanishad, the Vidya, the knowledge and the infinite are one and the same. Same way, the knowledge, the Vidya and the Atma, the self, they are not separate, they are one and the same. And this is, so we are here, when we use this word sad to loosen the causes, to loosen the causes means to remove the knot of ignorance, which is ignorance, desire and action. And this is applicable to knowledge alone, and it is not to some living person, it cannot be for an inert person. And and the teacher says, he says, ग्रंथस्यापि ताद अर्थेन तत् शब्दत्वोपपत्तेः आयुर्वै घृतमित्यादिवत् तस्माद् विद्यायां मुख्यया वृत्त्योपनिषद शब्दो वर्तते ग्रंथे तु भक्त्येति. So he says here that because the book is being used for this purpose, we are using the text called Kathopanishad, we are using the word, the Upanishads in the book form, for what then we can and we are using the words given in this Upanishad, through the stories, through the teachings, for what? So that this person can get educated in the correct manner, so that he can come to recognize that he is the person. He is of the nature of the knowledge itself. He is of the nature of Brahma Vidya. He is of the nature of Atma Vidya. He is conscious existence. But what does a man do? Man searches knowledge of the world. He learns physics, chemistry, mathematics, geometry, astrology, Ayurveda, yoga, and he keeps going away from the world. He is besotted with the world. He thinks knowledge means, Vidya means collecting more and more information about the world. Friends, the truth is, the more you know about the world, wise man realizes, the less you know about it. Because there is much more. It's vast. And as long as we are running after the world to know the world, by possessing it, by remembering it, by indulging in it, by working for it, to that extent we have gone far away from our essential nature. We have gone far away from the knowledge itself. True knowledge is knowledge of the self as the self. Knowledge is not equal to knowledge of the world. By knowing the self, we will come to know all that there is to be known. By knowing the world, today we have specialists, isn't it? What are specialists? Who know more and more of less and less. These idiots, they want to, if they are a specialist in liver, they will not look at any other organ which are coming together to spoil that liver. They will only look at the liver. If they have to do something with the joint, they will not see why this joint is inflamed. No. Cut, paste, that's the solution. The holistic approach is not there. So we are all idiots, because we go after one person, this is a joke, and we call her a wife. One person, specialization. And whole life you spend after the wife, but you can never understand her. So why not generalize? So though we become experts in finance, we become experts in mathematics, actuaries, something or the other. But what are we becoming experts for? For survival. And if you're really a scientist of some sort, if you look into it, and that's where science has come today, they have come to this conclusion that any experiment, the conclusion or the result of the experiment done depends upon the mindset of the one who's doing the experiment. That is the conclusion they have come to. So, how do we come to know this whole world? Is it possible? Yes, there is one way. Go to the source of the world. And the source is the self. The source is the Brahman, which we call, and what that is the word of Upanishad is meaning, Brahma Vidya. And we told you last week, two ways Brahma Vidya can be gained. It's the same thing. Either I can say, the woman is the same. I can speak to her about, explain her two ways or introduce her two ways. She is so and so, wife of, daughter of some person. Or I can say she's wife of some person. And third way, another way. What is that? That, oh, she is so and so whose husband is the such and such. So same way, so conclusion is always that woman. So same way, two ways of looking at the Brahma Vidya. Either we directly abide in the Brahma Vidya as the self, as the infinite, or the other way is that we remove the ignorance, and once ignorance is removed, ignorance means desire, ignorance means specificity, ignorance means acceptance of limitations of time, space and objectivity. It means accepting yourself as waker, dreamer, sleeper. This is the expression of ignorance. And once by studying these Upanishads we have removed the ignorance, then once ignorance is removed, what remains? Only you will be remaining. Which you? Not the you with reference to something or someone. You as you are. So, this is what is told here. Here he says, Ayurvai Ghrutam Ityadivata. Example is taken that, for example, the word used is clarified butter is indeed life. In this manner, Upanishad itself is Brahma Vidya. That in that manner they are using these the word of Upanishad. Thus, Tasmad Vidyayam Mukhyaya Vrityopanishad Shabdo Vartate Granthetu Bhaktiyati. So, thus, with regards to this knowledge, to the knowledge, the word Upanishad used in the primary sense. So now there he is saying, what is that? Mukhyaya. Mukhya means primary sense. In the primary sense, it is Upanishad word denotes or is equal to Brahma Vidya, the infinite knowledge, infinite truth. And in the secondary sense, Vrityu Upanishad Shabdo Vartate Granthe. But when it is taken in its secondary sense, then we take it as this text or the book which we are studying. So yet another way of explaining the word Upanishad is explained. Now in the conclusion he says, Evam Upanishad nirvachanena eva vishishtaha adhikari vidyaya muktaha. He says, thus from the word Upanishad it is suggested that what it is suggested, Upanishad vachanena eva vishishta adhikari, for that one who is possessed, vishishta adhikari means specially a seeker with special attributes. Uttam adhikari. Who is Uttam adhikari? We will see it through the story, but for the moment, last week also I mentioned this point, and the Uttam Adhikari is the one who is well adept at Vivek, Vairagya, Shatka Sampatti and Mumukshutvam, discrimination between the real and the unreal, changeless and the changing, existence and non-existence. That is Viveka, discrimination. Vairagya is dispassion towards the changing, dispassion towards the impermanent or the finite. Then when these two are done, then he is now very clear that he is the self, but he is not abiding in it. Then what is required? Then he needs the Shatka Sampatti to stabilize his mind. And what is stability of mind? The conclusion of stability of mind is contentment. No more seeking, no more wanting, no more desiring, including liberation. And the last one was Mumukshutvam, which is intense desire for liberation. Without intense desire for liberation, one will not come to the Upanishad. He will not expose himself to the Upanishad. He will not come and sit near that which is able to loosen the ignorance. In his life, the teacher will not come, the Guru's grace, the scriptural grace, or the Lord's grace will not come. Why? He is not available. He is after window shopping. He is after the world. He has made a pact with the Lord, MOU. You are all powerful and I am absolutely no power. And you are all powerful. You have no desires, I have all the desires. So MOU, what? My desires and your power. Let's sign a pact. And they function. Go to the temple, they offer the donation, they go to the churches, offer the donation, and there is a big list. May this happen, may that happen, may my child, may I have this, may I have that. No end to it. So Uttam Adhikari is he who has cultivated within himself Vivek, Vairagya, Shatka Sampatti and Mumukshutvam. So only such a person is qualified for knowledge. What do you mean by qualified for knowledge? Such a person alone is qualified for Brahma Vidya. I'm continuously using the words given in the Sanskrit and the English. So knowledge is Brahma Vidya. Even one error, even one desire for the world disqualifies you from knowing yourself, knowing the infinite. विषयश्च विशिष्ट उक्तः विद्यायाः परम, कहाँ गया? हाँ, Param Brahma Pratyagatma Bhutam. Now, every text that we take, there is a subject matter, there is a purpose, and there is sambandha, what the relationship between subject matter and the purpose, and the one who is qualified to study that. So we have seen who is qualified, the Vishishta Adhikari. And who is this Adhikari? Who has all those qualities, Vivek, Vairagya, Shatka Sampatti and Mumukshutvam. What is the subject matter? Subject matter is told here. The subject matter of the knowledge is, and what is the subject matter? We already mentioned that it is Brahma Vidya, it is the knowledge, and this knowledge is shown to be a unique thing, and it is the Supreme Brahman, it is the indwelling self. That is the Brahma Vidya. It is not some object, it is not some concept, it is not some imagination, it is not something to be inferred, it is not something to be compared with, that by doing this you will get it. Nope. It is you. Oh my God, that's a big load on my head. Yes, for the ego it is a big load. You mean to say this whole universe I am? Yes. I can't breathe anymore. Okay, don't. You will be there. You will still be there if you stop breathing. So, subject matter is the supreme reality, the supreme Brahman, the Brahma Vidya, or one way, when we look at the totality of the creation, we call it Brahma Vidya, the supreme Brahman. When we look at ourselves, we call it Pratyagatma, the immediate self within. Just like the infinite space is called this room space from where I am giving the satsang, the quality, the attributes of the space in the room and the infinite space outside, it's exactly the same. There is no difference between the space within and without. In other words, the in and out becomes null and void. Such is this subject matter. So, why these two words? Because this is to the seeker, and for him, I am micro and there is a macro. When you are thinking of the macro, infinite creation, that knowledge is called as the Supreme Brahman. When you are looking at yourself, then it is called as Pratyag Atma. Where is it gone? It's called as Brahma Pratyag Atma Bhutam. That Brahman, that infinite reality alone is expressing immediately at this very moment as the self within. Now the purpose is given. Prayojanam cha asya Upanishad atyantiki sansara nivrittihi Brahma prapti lakshana. And the purpose of this Upanishad is the absolute cessation, annihilation, removal of transmigration. What is transmigration? Every day we are migrating, waking to dream, dream to sleep, sleep to waking, waking to dream. And some very imaginative people say, oh, we migrate from, our soul is there and it migrates from this body to the next body to the next body. There can be no bigger bluff than that. But imagination has to be given its kudos. Good, keep it up. Keep yourself busy thinking. Are we here to prove transmigration, or are we here to hear? Mumukshutva means intense desire to know that I am the reality here and now, at this very moment. Not in the past, not in the future, not with reference to anything, not with any specificity. Which consists, and once we have become free from the transmigration, it is equal to attainment of Brahman. In Panchadashi it comes Dukkha Nivritti Sukha Prapti or Nirankusha Trupti. Nirankusha Trupti means contentment without a cause, without a reason. Nirankusha Trupti. Both must happen at the same time. As long as duality is still there, the seeker is still there, as long as the waker is still there thinking of the sleep inside his bed, nicely tucked away, lights off, alarms on, till then the problems of the daytime, of the waking, have not left him. But the moment sleep comes, he is no longer a waker. Same way, the seeker who is seeking the Brahma Vidya, then how can he get to that? he has to wean himself away from the transmigration, the transmigratory cycle, living in a cyclical life. What is our cyclical life? Every morning, every day, morning comes. Every night, night comes. In the morning, I wake up, at night, I sleep. 3 times a day, I hog. And my transmigratory cycle is everything that is born must die. That is change. Change is transmigration. Change is transmigration. Movement from one state to another. Right now you are in a satsang state. After this you will be in a sleep state or food state. Then you will be in the sleep state. Migration. You go from one room to another, to that other, to another. You are migrating from one room to the other. See? So the purpose here, he says, that total cessation of the world means what? It means the total cessation of birth and death. And when we have become free from the cycle of birth and death, that is called eradication of ignorance, removal of ignorance, cessation of ignorance, dissolution of ignorance. And whatever is non-existing, is superimposed on that which is existing. What is existing? Now think. And what is non-existing? They are both. It is identical with the unchanging. Woman is unchanging, but the mother, daughter, sister, they are changing. They are identical with the woman. So the material that has gone into the non-existence is nothing but that one alone. And when we remove that which is changing, what remains behind is the changeless. This is the purpose, and this is attainment of the reality, the attainment of Brahman. And in this way, now that is the prayojanam, that is the purpose. And now the sambandha sambandhascha evam bhuta prayojane janena uktaha. Now the relationship is told, and what is that relationship? That the relationship between the knowledge and the subject matter and the purpose, and it is the subject matter was what? Brahma Vidya. Purpose was what? Cessation of ignorance, attainment of reality. Now, is reality other than Brahma Vidya? No. And so the relationship with the subject matter and the purpose is that once the cessation of the world comes about, that subject matter itself is the, once you remove the ignorance, what remains behind? Here it says karamlavat. Here the word used is what is that? अतः यथा उक्त अधिकारी विषय प्रयोजन संबंधाया विद्यायाः करतलन्यस्तामलवत् प्रकाशकत्वेन विशिष्ट अधिकारी विषय प्रयोजन संबंधा एतावल्लयो भवन्ति इति इत्यतस्ताः यथा प्रतिभानं व्याचक्षमहे. So here he says that this what you call the connection has been mentioned, and then he explains ataha yatha ukta adhikari, for whom, thus this is for that special competent person, the competent seeker, the competent student who is got those four qualities: vivek, vairagya, shatka sampatti and mumukshutvam, and who is competent, and the subject matter is the special one for him, the purpose is special from him, and a special connection is there for whom, for this special adhikari, for this vishishta adhikari, for this uttam adhikari, and by for such a student, such a special student, when he studies this special subject matter, this unique or special for this special purpose, and sees the special connection between the two, then he has, here the word here, karatala nyastamalavakavat, meaning he has the myrobalan fruit in his hand, means the gooseberry is in his hand, like that, your the attainment is effortless thereafter for such a student. The knowledge is meant for a person, for a student, as we are saying, of special capacity, capability, competence, special qualification. Uttam adhikari, the bestest of the students. It cannot be for a tamasic student, it cannot be for a rajasic student, it cannot be only sattvic who is mixed with rajas and tamas. No, it has to be shuddha sattva. Meaning his love for the truth is able to conquer all ignorance. See, when the sun rises, no darkness can remain. When the knowledge rises, from where will the knowledge rise? You are the knowledge. When you realize that you are the unchanging one, that you are one without a second, that you are all pervasive, that you are all that there is, that very moment, ignorance equal to darkness, equal to the cyclical birth and rebirth, all this migration, all this will come to a naught. It will become zero. So this that the knowledge that is meant for a special student with a special subject matter, here when he says प्रकाशत के ना विशिष्ट अधिकारी विषय प्रयोजन संबंधा एतावल्लयो भवन्ति. So these coming chapters which are there, the cantos or the paragraphs which are going to come, sections that are going to come, they will be explaining this special competence of the bestest of students who can come to know the truth. They will be talking about this special subject matter. They will be talking about the special purpose by way of which we can remove the ignorance. What qualities are required to remove the ignorance? What qualities are required so that cessation from the cyclical birth comes to a zero? What is that qualification? And the special connection between the subject matter and the purpose has already been told. So all this will be taken up in the coming vallis, and with this we conclude the Sambandha Bhashya, and now we enter into the text itself. Repeat after me. Om Sahana Vavatu. Don't put the volume on. Don't put the audio on. With yourself you chant. Om Sahana Vavatu. Om Sahanau Bhunaktu. Saha Viryam Karavavahai. Tejasvinav Dhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now we enter into this. Those who have this Sanskrit Bhashya, they can take that. Prathamadhyaya, Prathamavalli, first chapter, first canto. And the first canto is titled The Donation of the Vajashravas. So the first 3 verses of this chapter are prose, and after that it begins in the meter. So let's see how it comes out. Repeat after me. Om Ushanha Vai Vajashravasah. Om Ushanha Vai Vajashravasah. Sarva Vedasam Dadau. Sarva Vedasam Dadau. Tasya Nachiketa Nama Putra Asa. Tasya Nachiketa Nama Putra Asa. Together. Om Ushanha Vai Vajashravasah. Sarva Vedasam Dadau. Tasya Nachiketa Nama Putra Asa. He says in the first verse itself that Ushan Om. Om. What is Om? Om represents that infinite reality. Nothing. Everything is in Om. Everything is expression of Om. As we have told you before, Om is the origin. From that came the vowels. By the interaction of the vowels came the consonants. Consonants and vowels joined together to form full alphabets. Full alphabets and or consonants and half consonants and vowels combined together to form words. Words combined together form meter. And with this meter, all the scriptures are written in any language. And we have many different. We have chandas, we have anushtup chanda, we have in Hindi we have the doha, sortha, chaupai. So many different. Saundarya Lahari is written in a different meter. Ganesha Pancharatnam is chanted in a different meter. So these are different meters. Anyway, that is not the point here. Point is Om. Om represents the whole the entire reality. And Ushan, who is Ushan? Ushan is the one who is desirous. Ushan is the one who is desirous. Then next word is Ha and Vai. Ha and Vai, these are the 2 indeclinable particles, and they tell us and remind us of what happened before, which is popularly accepted. This is not an event. It is a well accepted event of the past, very popular in the Vedas. So recalling to mind what happened before is expressed through Ha and Va. Then Vajashrava. So So here the word is Vajashravasah. So Vajashravasa is the son of Vajashravas. And who is Vajashravas? Vaja means food and Shrava means the one with fame, name and fame. So one who is he who has name and fame for giving food, his son is called Vajashravasah. See? Then, and either you can break it up or you can just take it as one simple name. It may be a name of a person. So, when you say Swami, Swami means what? I am. But you are calling me. But you are saying I am. So, what do you mean? So, when you say Swami Paramananda, you and many people say Swami Paramananda, Swami Paramananda, or Swamiji, Swamiji. When they say Swamiji, they are saying I am Ji. If they say Swami Paramananda, they are saying I am infinite bliss. So they think they are calling a person, but actually they are calling themselves. Because the vibration of the word Swami Paramananda is I am infinite bliss. That is its meaning. See? And this is the beauty of the names given in Indian culture. Every name has a meaning. In sannyas they give these special names, so everything is reminding. But even someone is called Arti, another person is called Samidha, another one is called Bhageshri, another is called Saket, another is called Narayana, another. So all names that remind you of divinity in some form. But when you come to take sannyas, then you are given different names. Then it is no more specific, no individual or total, nothing from this creation. Every name reminds you of the infinity. So it is and his son, Vaja Anna, Vaja was food or Anna, and Shravaha means name and fame. So Vaja Shravaha, his son is called Vaja Shravasa. And who is he? Sarva Vedasam Dadau. Sarva Vedasam, Sarva means everything, Vedasa means wealth, Dadau means give away. Who is he? He is the one who Ushan was desirous. This fellow, this Vajashravasa, Gautam, he was desirous of the fruit of the sacrifice. And the fruit of the sacrifice, and I'll explain all this later as we go in. And what is that? What did he do? He did a sacrifice. Here the name is not given. If you read the previous part of the story, there it comes. He did the Vishwajit sacrifice. Vishwajit sacrifice. Vishwa, world. Jit, victory. Victory over the world. So in the olden times, when the people used to go around, kings used to go around and come back victorious, and when they came back towards, and as a sign of their or magnanimity and culture also, and also wanting to go to heavens. They used to uh, get involved in such grand sacrifices, Vishwajit being one of them. And what did this entail? Vishwajit sacrifice entailed giving away everything that you own. And this was not a teeny mini feat that I'll give away 1 kilo of rice. No, everything that you own has to be given away. Why? To attain heavens. Sacrifices are performed only to attain higher worlds. So, why do you get higher worlds because of it? Because you gain merit by doing such activities. When you give donation, you get merit, you accrue merit. Dana, dharma, seva. When you serve, when you do give donation, when you help a needy, you are accruing merit. When you take the name of the Lord, you are accruing merit. So he, in those times, that was the way. What was it? The fire sacrifice. And in that sacrifice, the eventual result was that, and this is what it entailed, that it required one to give away everything that he had in possession. And a common man could not do this, because what does he have? He's, in the first place, he is living for surviving. Only those who had plenty and those who knew and had the confidence, they could embark on this thing. And here you will see this man, Vajashravas Gautam, he is a young fellow. And here it says, the next part of the verse says, Tasya ha Nachiketa nama putra asa. Tasya, of his, Nachiketa, name of the son of Vajashravas, Nama, name, Putra, son, Asa, was this Vajashravasa, who was Ushan, desirous of getting the fruit of the sacrifice. How? By Sarva Veda Samdadau, by giving away everything that he had of this person, Vajashravasa, of his was a son by the name of Nachiketa. See how beautiful it is? Just thinking it through the verse itself is so beautiful. I have already given you the meaning. Now let's read. Tatra akhyayika vidyaha tu iti artha. Tatra means there. Akhyayika means the traditional story, the traditional event, accepted by all. Akhyayika, vidya, knowledge. Stuti iti artha. Stuti is praise and artha is the meaning. So what is given here? Tatra akhyayika. What is Tatra akhyayika vidya stuti iti artha. So what is given here is the traditional event of the past, which is accepted by all. That is what her and Vai sent, and that we will tell again. And therefore, what it signifies here. Now, what is the hidden meaning here? Hidden meaning here is that this is to tell the greatness of Brahma Vidya, so that we know its importance. And when we have when we have greatness, we have a feeling of greatness towards something or someone, then you pursue it. Otherwise, you will not pursue it. And therefore, when we have a sense of greatness and importance, then we'll put efforts to achieve it, to gain it, to abide in it. You all came to Australia, all of you are migrants. You must have felt something great about Australia, a land of opportunity, a land of peace, tranquility, and plenty, land of beaches, big land, few people. हाँ यहाँ पे ठीक है. If you go to India, in one building there will be more people than you can get in entire our street. Oh my God. Oh, here it's peaceful. So, whether your husband, whether the wife, whether the parents, they decided to come here, they must have seen the greatness, importance of this country, and that it is worthy to apply for immigration and then land here. Same way, until unless we do not have a feeling of greatness towards a scripture like Upanishad, see, which movie do we go and watch? Those we see the reviews, how many stars it has. 5 stars. This movie I will watch. Why? Because it has been recommended 5 stars. But if someone has given 1 star, half star, 1.5 star, अरे छोड़ यार, not many reviews, I will get into it, but if the reviews are bad, then why should I even look at it, No point. Same way here, when it says that Akhyayika traditionally accepted by people, and not only 1 or 2, all people. There is no doubt, there is no question about it, that something like this did not happen. It happened. Where did this tree come from? It came from the fruit. No, seed. Show me the seed. No, I cannot show you the seed. No. How can you not show me the tree only, not the seed? You have to accept it. That's all. So, and the reason this word is used, that it is accepted by all, is to shower praise on the Brahma Vidya, that it was accepted by all in the yore, in the past. And thus, and when we have felt the importance of it, that if so many people, see, similar thing happens, excuse me, someone is a great freedom fighter, his son, now the freedom fighter got the freedom for the country. Now the freedom fighter son will not be a enemy of the country. He will live that my grandfather was a great person, my grandfather was a great person, my father was a great person. I must also not spoil their name. I must also come to not be great, but I must live a moral life. I must live a life of restraint. I must live a life, at least if 1% of what they did I achieve in this life, I will be happy. I went to Dharmasthala. Dharmasthala is a place in Karnataka, in the hills near Sringeri. And there, this is in 98. After I finished my studies, I was traveling around and I went there. And uh, I was staying in the room, and suddenly and he's a king. Uh, there is a king in Dharmasthala, and the place is famous uh, for the temple. And the king is running that entire town of Dharmasthala. I, I went there for the temple. I didn't go there for the king. And uh, anyway, someone said I was a brahmachari. He was sitting there, and in his uh, hall where everyone can go and visit him and pay respects. Oh, I also went. They said, okay, I also went. And when I went, he made me sit down next to him. He stopped the queue and he sat down with me in another in corner, and he gave me a silver coin. I said, what will I do with this? He said, no, this is very special. It is from this place. It is take it as a prasad. I said, okay. And then he said, now you go and eat and then rest, and then I will send someone to call you in the evening. And I went to rest in the room, and then one like those king's soldiers, fully dressed with a spear and big hat. Suddenly he came, knocked. I opened the door. I got scared. Who is this? Why they have come? But he says, no, the king has called you. I said, okay. I went, and he was sitting in a huge park where the statue of the Lord was the traveling statue. I should Utsav Murti that was kept, and he called me. He sent the soldier. He said, bring him here. Almost 10-20,000 people are there. Out of that, I go and I stand next to him. I am a brahmachari, just out of the ashram. I don't know all these etiquettes. And he is sitting there, and I am standing. The moment he saw me, I am standing. He also stood up. I said, no, better. You can keep sitting. I am okay. I can sit on the. I will sit. I went to sit on the ground itself. He said, one chair came. He made me sit on the chair, and then singing, dancing, all that paraphernalia went on. And then now the yatra has to go. Which yatra is, the statue is put on the chariot, and the chariot goes around the temple 11 times. But before the god, the king goes. So king was going in the front, and he said, you come behind me. You cannot walk in front of me. I said, oh, whatever you say, how do I care? So I went after him. And then after 3 rounds, he stopped. And he does not look down to the deity, nor does he look up to the deity. He is at par with the deity. So they have made a platform at the temple where the king goes and stands, and when the chariot came for the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th round, the chariot comes and stops in front of that platform. The king is standing there, and the deity is placed, and both are eye to eye. Nobody is looking up or down to each other, because king is considered representative of the god. So he stopped me also. After 3 rounds, he told me, come with me. So I also went and stood on the platform. Now I was shivering that for 20,000 people he's going to make me give lecture. I have never given a lecture in my life. So I was trying to cut away from him. So he says, how many times I have to tell you, come with me, come with me. Everyone does not get such a opportunity. So I went. He says, Lord is blessing you. I don't know why I'm feeling that I want to call you. So I was standing there. Now imagine 3 rounds are over, another 8 rounds have to go. What to do? Silence. So in between I asked him, sir, can I ask you one question? He said, yes. I said, what do you feel when this is happening to you? He says, then he started explaining. He says, I'm only maintaining what my ancestors left for me. the tradition, the good name, the caring disposition towards all the people in this town. Every person in this town is employed by me, is employed by the trust. We have started hospitals, we have started so many universities and we teach free. So it is nothing compared to what my great ancestors did. I am only able to just maintain it. If I am able to maintain it, I am happy. I don't know what is going to happen in the future, but while I am alive, all I want to do is not make anyone lose their job, and promote the tradition and the Sanatana Dharma and the love for the Lord and the cultural tradition. And this is what we see in the Puranas. This is what we see in the various in the Vedas also, as well as in the Puranas. That every king eventually, those who were righteous, eventually gave up everything to seek liberation. King Janak, Ramchandra and Sita, Lord Ram and Sita, Sita's father, and all the kings, about 14 generations in that, they were called as Janak, and they were Raja Rishis. Even though they were kings, but in their journey they have come to realize the truth. Realization of the truth doesn't mean to give up everything or go into the forest. Realization of the truth means Pratyag Atma, Atmyak Swarup. You have to come to know the truth immediately as the self. For that you don't have to go anywhere. Wherever you are right now, are you the self or are you the listener? Are you the waker or are you the self? Are you the wife or husband or are you the self? It's right here and now. Yes, no doubt, certain qualifications, certain qualities, certain time out from all responsibilities is every now and then appreciated. That we will see when it comes. But here the point is that because why do we study scriptures? Why do we study Bhagavad Gita? Why do we study Upanishads? Firstly, they are the scriptures. Secondly, the saints and sages who are realized, who are unreasonably happy, who are not wanting, they are not happy because of a reason. Without a reason they are happy. They declare that what Bhagavad Gita says, what Upanishad says is the ultimate truth. What the scriptures say is the ultimate truth. And when do they say it? While living, not posthumously. Someone else writing it for them. No. While living they say it. So when such great masters are saying it, who are we? Automatically, in our heart, the love for the goal of liberation, the kindling of the desire to know the truth. I can tell you, I don't know about others. So many biographies I have seen, but personally, when I was 11, 12 years old, I used to read these Amar Chitra Kathas, story after story of so many great kings and rishis and Mahatmas. Vivekananda, Ramakrishna Paramhans, Mirabai, Kabir Das, and many other kings. And when I read all those stories, one day, under the Parijat tree which was in our entrance of our house, those who don't know, but those who know, Parijat, it's a divine tree from the heaven, beautiful fragrance. Its flower comes only at 4 5 o'clock in the morning, just before sunrise, and only for that half an hour, 45 minutes, then it's over. And under it I was sitting during in the morning and reading and enjoying the sunshine and reading. And I must have dozed off sometime, and it was a conscious dozing off. And in that conscious dozing off, my mind was working by grace of God. That what do I want to be in my life? What will be my ultimate purpose of my life? I must have picked it up somewhere in that book. And that time, in that silent moment, nobody to disturb, as if I am totally cut off from all the sound around me. Somewhere I dived deep into myself and made a commitment to myself. A sound came and made commitment that my purpose of life is what these saints and sages have achieved in their life, which is to gain liberation. And that's how then life unfolded. Why? Why did I do that? Because of the legacy, because of what other saints and sages have done, what other kings have done. They did not go after money, they did not go after wealth, they did not go after bucket list. They gave everything up at a particular point in life and turned to divinity. That was my motivation. And that is the point that is being. Same thing with Raman Maharishi. He saw the dead person, he also played dead, came out of the body. Who am I? That was his trigger. My trigger was this. Find your trigger, or be available for the trigger to happen. Or maybe it has happened, that's why you are listening. If you are listening and not sleeping. So, to show the greatness of the subject matter, what is the subject matter? Brahma Vidya. And it is, as it is saying, it is well akhyayika, it is well accepted. And it tells us the greatness of Brahma Vidya, so that we know its importance and we put efforts towards it. Just wanting liberation is not enough. And for many years we did not do anything. Then suddenly one day, by grace, suddenly the pranayam began, the sadhana began, contemplation began. Then the right people started coming into our life. And one step led to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. When did the journey begin? Journey began when I was 12. That was the seed was planted. Then I was busy. Year 10, year 12, exam, headache. But then the journey began in 1982. The sadhana began in 1982. Until 1996, the sadhana was going on. Off and on, touch and go, touch and go. Sometimes it will go more, sometimes less, sometimes get distracted, again come back, again do it. And in 1996, when it had reached its peak, towards the end, 3-4 years, full on. When I came to Australia, full on. And then what happened? Then ashram happened. See? And no fear. no fear. So when the greatness of this infinite knowledge catches you from within, the desire for it develops within you, then only, for whatever, whether it's a movie, whether it is food, when the desire for food comes, then only you will put efforts to get the food. If the desire to see a movie comes, then you will put efforts to go and buy the ticket or book the ticket and make travel all the way, find a parking, get into the theater and watch the movie. So what have we given importance to? Here it is showing that to inculcate this importance, that this is not just a fable, it is not just it is well accepted story to bring out the subject matter Brahma Vidya. And when we appreciate it, when we see the importance of it through the story and the characters and the dialogues between the characters, we will also feel like attaining that which this story is going to enumerate. Then he says that Ushan कामयमानः हवा इति वृत् अर्थस्मरणार्थौ निपातौ वाजमन्नं तद्दानादि निमित्तं श्रवः यशः यस्य स वाजश्रवा रूढितो वा. He says, what does he say? He says that Ushan kamayamanaha. Ushan meaning desiring, her and why, again I told you before, but again, her and why both indicate an event in the past. Then vrit means vrittanta. Va iti vrit artha smaranartho nipatau. So vrit means vrittanta. Vrittanta means event, and artha means meaning, and smarana arthau means to remember meaning of both, and nipato means the two exceptions, that is her and va, her and vai. So the two exceptions, her and vai, indicate or mention an event in the past for remembering. That is what this Sanskrit translation is. Then the next word, Vajam annam tad danadi nimittam shravah yashaha yasya sa vajashrava rudhitaha vajashravaha rudhitaha va. Now let's look at this. What does he say? Vaja means anna. Here it says Vajam annam. Vaja means anna. Anna means food. So Vaja means food, and Shravasa. Here it says Vajam annam tad danadi nimittam. And what is the food for? The purpose of the food is for giving away. And Shravaha, Yashaha, Yasya sa Vajashrava. Then Shavas means the name and fame, and Yashaha means glory. So he who has name, fame and glory, so because of his charity of giving away the food, such a person is called as Vajashravaha. And or here it says Yashaha yasya sa Vajashrava rudhitova. Rudhitova also means that what do you call Rudha means the spine, the one who is with the spine. it can be also, it can also mean that way. So so here he says Rudito va. Otherwise, he could also have been called the one with the straight spine. He could have been called, many Mahatmas in India are very popular name, Pagal Baba. Pagal Baba means mad Mahatma. So that is a very common name because he is Avadhut. So people call him Pagal Baba. He may be having a name, but Pagal Baba. So a person can be called by anything. Why do you remember Newton? For what type of person was he? Or because of his finding the three laws of motion? Why do you remember Archimedes? Because of what he discovered, the Archimedes principle. Similarly, this person's name could have been anything, but maybe this name Vajashrava is a name because he was well known, he was famous because of his desire to give charity and donation of food to all the people. Huh? Or he could have got the name due to his backbone also. Now the next one, Tasya apatyam Vajashravasah kila Vishwajita sarvameghena eje tatphalam kamayamanaha. Tasya, of his, apatyam, offspring or child, Vishwajita. Vishwajita is the sacrifice called Vishwajit Yagya. Vishwajit, Vishwa, world, Jit is what you call a victory over the world. He did a fire sacrifice called victory over the world. It was not necessary. Victory over the world means you have to go physically and win the world. He who has controlled his senses and mind is a Vishwajit. But that time they didn't talk about senses and mind. They used to do Havan and Hom. They used to do fire sacrifices. So Vishwajit, Sarva, all, Sarva Meghena Eje. What does Sarva Meghena Eje means? In which one offers everything that he has. Sarva Meghena Eje. Tatphala, where are we? Tatphalam, its result, Kamayamanaha, desiring. So in this way, the Vishwajit sacrifice, in which everything was everything that one has is sacrificed. For what purpose? Desiring and expecting the result born out of this act of sacrifice. The result was the unlimited name and fame, Vishwajit. Unlimited name and fame. See? And from that came the name. Continuing, there is a lot more to talk about it in this. Let me finish this, then I'll give you a separate commentary on it. So let's. Sa tasmin, time ho gaya kya? Quickly, just one line left. Sa tasmin kratau sarva vedasam sarvasvam dhanam dadau dattavan. Here he says, स तस्मिन् कहाँ गया स तस्मिन् क्रतौ सर्ववेदसं स तस्मिन् क्रतौ he saha tasmin in that क्रतौ as a consequence or as a result of that. Sarvavedasam means sarvaswam, means all his wealth, all his dhanam. Sarvavedasam. Dadau means give away, dattavan, and he in that sacrifice, whatever the sacrifice, fire sacrifice or whatever sacrifice it was, he in that yagya sacrifice gave away, offered all his wealth. तस्य यजमानस्य ह नचिकेता नाम पुत्र किल आस बभूव. So it is said or reported that of his when they say that of his yajamanasya, meaning of that person. Yajaman is the person who's doing the yagya or the sacrifice. Of that person, of that said person who performs this sacrifice. And who is this Yajaman? We have already said that it is an event with a historical acceptance. It is an event of historical acceptance by one and all. Then Nachiketa is the name of his son, Nama, name, Putra, son, Kilasa, indeed it was. So therefore it is said that or reported that of that person who regularly performs sacrifice and pays its expense and gives away all his wealth in offerings to the brahmanas, to the poor people, etc., etc. A son by the name of Nachiketa was. This is said by the historical authority of the past, and in this way the first verse goes. And there are few hidden what do you call few things that we can deduce by reading this verse, which we will tell you in the next class. From there we will begin. We will not do it all over again, but we will tell you that and then get into the next verse. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Hari Om.